So when I say the words computer science, what's the first image that pops into your head? For most of us, it's coding, right? You know, those streams of crazy-looking text on a black screen. But what if I told you that's kind of the last step? That the real magic, the real genius, happens way before anyone types a single word.
Right, we're always hearing about computers thinking or being smart, but really, they're just machines. They're just following orders. So where does the smart part actually come from? Okay, let's really dig into this because the answer is going to change the way you look at every single app on your phone. And that brings us to the big central question for today. What if the whole act of typing out code isn't the main event? What if it's just a small piece of a much bigger, much more creative puzzle? A puzzle that, honestly, you and I solve every single day.
To really get this, we're not going to go to some high-tech lab. Nope, we're going into a kitchen. I want you to imagine that creating software is like running a restaurant. You've got two key players, the master chef and the line cook. They both have super important jobs, but they are very, very different. So this here really lays it all out. On one side, you've got the chef. That's our computer scientist. This is the big picture thinker, the creative genius who invents the entire recipe from scratch, the plan. And on the other side, you've got the cook. That's our coder. The cook is an absolute expert at following that recipe perfectly. They chop, they stir, they do exactly what the plan says to do.
And this is the absolute key, right here. The chef's main job is not to do the chopping and stirring. It's to think, it's to dream up the absolute best, most efficient, most delicious recipe they possibly can. The entire success of the whole meal hinges on the quality of that plan.
Okay, so what do we even mean by the best plan? Well, in the world of computer science, it's all about finding the fastest, the most organized, or the least wasteful way to get something done. It's basically a treasure hunt for the cleverest solution.
Let's make this super real. Picture this. You just got home from the store with a ton of groceries. The chef, our computer scientist, doesn't just start randomly putting things away. No, they stop, they look at the mess, and they ask a question like this. What is the absolute fastest, most logical way to get all of this stuff put away? This is the exact kind of puzzle they love.
Now, you could follow this plan, right? Grab one can of soup, walk to the pantry, put it away, walk all the way back. Then grab the box of pasta, walk to the pantry, put it away, walk back again. I mean, it gets the job done, eventually, but it's an awful plan. It's slow, it's inefficient, you're wasting so much energy making dozens of trips.
But a chef, a computer scientist, would come up with a much better recipe. First, you sort everything. You make a pile on the counter for all the pantry stuff, a pile for all the fridge stuff. Then, you carry all the pantry items in one single efficient trip. Then you do the same for the fridge. See? It's the same goal, but a totally different plan, and a much, much better result. That's the difference.
Okay, so if that really smart grocery plan is the computer science part, where does coding fit into all this? Well, this is where our cook comes back. The coding part is just translating the chef's brilliant recipe into a language that the kitchen assistants can understand.
Yeah, think of it just like this. The cook takes the chef's awesome recipe and tells a robot assistant, "Okay, robot, pick up this pile, now walk to the pantry." The code is just the instructions. The real genius wasn't in the telling, it was in the plan that came before it.
And that, right there, brings us to the biggest secret of this whole thing. It is totally possible to be a phenomenal chef, a master planner, a logical genius, a truly brilliant computer scientist, without ever learning how to write a single line of code. Because your job is the thinking part, the logic, the beautiful, clever plan.
Okay, this is a pretty cool idea, right? The chef and the cook. But, so what? Why does this distinction actually matter to you in your everyday life? Well, it affects every single piece of technology you use.
For sure. If the chef creates a bad plan for a video game, you know, like that slow, one-item-at-a-time grocery plan, that game is going to be laggy and slow. The computer's just working way too hard, making 1,000 trips when it only needed to make 2. And that's not the coder's fault. It's the plan's fault.
And it's the exact same thing with your phone's battery. A bad, inefficient plan makes the little computer inside your phone run around in circles, just doing tons of unnecessary work. And all that wasted effort, it absolutely drains your battery. A lot of the time, a dead battery is just a symptom of a bad plan.
So, if you remember one thing, remember this. The difference between an amazing, super fast app and a terrible, slow one
It's almost never about the code itself. It's about the quality of the chef's recipe, the brilliance of the plan running behind the scenes.
And you know what the best part of all of this is? You don't have to be a tech genius or learn some complicated language to start thinking like a chef, because honestly, you already do it all the time.
So let me just ask you straight up. Can you think like a computer scientist? I'm willing to bet you absolutely can. Let's try a quick challenge right now, and I'll prove it to you. Okay, next time you have a chore to do, anything, putting away laundry, organizing your desk, just pause for a second. Before you start, think, what's the most efficient, step-by-step plan to get this done? The absolute fastest way. Now try to explain that plan out loud. That moment of thinking, of finding a better, smarter way to do something, that is the heart of computer science. You're being the chef.
So the secret's out. Computer science is really just about making the best plan. And since you're already a planner, well, you're already a computer scientist. Which leads me to one last little question for you to chew on. If a computer is just a machine that follows a plan, is a toaster a computer? Think about it, and we'll see you next time.